What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all again. You know what I'm saying? With another video segment. And this one is going to talk about SSNs and TINs, which are taxpayer identification numbers, on government forms and correspondence. But before I proceed, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let people know that in the comment section on previous videos, listen, do not try to convince me of anything in regards to what you do personally. It's your choice. You don't have to convince me. And I know that the reality is that a lot of people really are, they're disconcerted because I basically have stepped on your toes because you've been misleading people for a long time. See, me on my channel, what I usually do is I give you facts and evidence. I don't have to give conjecture about an idea. I give you the fact. If you have the fact, then how do you argue against that? It's not really you arguing with me. You're arguing with yourself in regards to the process of what you have to actually deal with. I don't care. You don't got to convince me. I've been doing this for a very long time. But I also kept myself out of a lot of harm in regards to this and proposal to this because I know what I'm doing. And I read a lot more than just what somebody else tells me. The war machine is back, man. It's back, man. It's back, man. You know what I'm saying? And people get caught up in these concepts. Listen, as I said before, if you are a distinct appellation, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever identity you wish to adopt, whatever ethnicity you wish to, it don't matter. You're still dealing with the same commercial beast system. And what I advocate on my channel is acceptance for value. I don't advocate any of those other processes because the actuality behind it is that you're not really sure if they really work anyway. Now, if you want to convince people that they work, please, why don't you go, instead of steaming at me in the comment section, get your ass up there on the channel and prove to people, and you push forward with that concept. But don't come to my motherfucking house about this because I said something in regards to that. I'm not salty at all. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. On my channel, I disseminate truth. So, without further ado, and not focusing on you, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to go ahead and do this. You know what I mean? And, like I told people, the war machine is access to tens and honestly, hundreds of thousands of actual references. I can do this for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm plugged in. I'm locked. The war machine is here, bitch. Intro. It is very important that we fully understand why and how the government uses numbers to identify us both in forms or in their computer systems. Why does this? And all the effects upon our lives and our rights. In fact, if you want to discontinue voluntary participation in the federal and state income tax systems, the absolute most important thing you can do is to eliminate all identifying numbers in association and connection with you. Understanding this can literally mean the definition and the difference between being a free person or a government slave. Social Security numbers and taxpayer identification numbers are what the FTC, which is called the Federal Trade Commission, calls a franchise mark. Definition, people. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has defined a commercial franchise as follows. A commercial business arrangement is a franchise. If it satisfies three definitional elements, specifically the franchisor, you, who's the entity on the card, must, 1, promise to provide a trademark or other commercial symbol, which you don't have. 2, promise to exercise significant control or provide significant assistance in the operation of the business. I'll read that one more time. Promise to exercise significant control or provide significant assistance in the operation of the business. And 3, require a minimum payment of at least $500 during the first 6 months of operation. And that's why you get taxed. In the context of the above document, the Social Security number or taxpayer identification number function essentially as to what the FTC calls a franchise mark. It behaves as what we call a de facto license to represent Caesar as a public officer. A franchise entails the right to operate a business that is identified or associated with the franchisor's trademark or offer, sell, or to distribute goods, services, or commodities that are identified or associated with the franchise's trademark. The term trademark is intended to be read broadly to cover not only trademarks, but any service mark, trade name, or other advertising or commercial symbol. This is generally referred to as the trademark or mark element. Mark element. Let's get to it. The franchisor, the government, need not own the mark itself, but at the very least, it must have the right to license to use the mark to others. Indeed, the right to use the franchisor's mark in the operation of the business, either by selling goods or performing services identified with the mark, or by using the mark in whole or in part in the business's name, is an integral part of franchising. In fact, a supplier can avoid rule coverage of a particular distribution arrangement by expressly prohibiting the distributor from using its mark. FTC Franchise Rule Compliance Guide, May 2008. The same SSN or TIN franchise mark is what the Bible calls the mark of the beast. It identifies the beast as the government or civil rulers. You can also read Revelation 13. I'll actually go into it. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Revelation 13, verse 16 through 17. You can find that in your King James Version. The business that is operated or licensed by the beast in statutes called the trade of business, which is defined as follows. 26 United States Code, Section 7701, Section A, subsection 26. The term trade or business includes the performance and functions of a public office. Those engaged in trade or business franchise activities are officers of Caesar and have fired their creator as the civil protector. By becoming said officers or officers of Caesar, they have violated the primary commandment to mankind because they are serving other gods. In a simple sense, by bowing down, as indicated above, you cannot become unequal or inferior to any government or civil ruler or civil law. In other words, you cannot surrender your equality and be civilly governed by any government or civil ruler under Roman system of jus civile, civil law or civil statutes. That is not to say that you are lawless or you are an individual who they consider myself to be a rebel, because you are still accountable under criminal law, equity, and common law in any court. All civil statutory codes make the government superior and you inferior, so you can't consent to a domicile and thereby become subject to it. The word subjection in the following means inferiority. Protectio, trahit, subjectionem, subjectio, projectionem. Protection draws it to its subjection unto protection. Bouvier's Maxims of Law, 1856. Below are ways to become Caesar's civil statutory codes and civil franchises as a subject and thereby surrenders the equality to engage in government idolatry. Number 1, domicile by choice, choosing domicile within a specific jurisdiction. Number 2, domicile by operation of law, also called domicile of necessity. 2.1, representing an entity that has domicile within a specific jurisdiction, even though not domiciled oneself in said jurisdiction. For instance, representing a federal corporation as a public officer of said corporation, even though domiciled outside the federal zone. The authority for this type of jurisdiction is, for instance, Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 17b. 2.2, becoming a dependent on someone else and thereby assuming the same domicile as that of your caregiver. For instance, being a minor, independent, and having the same civil domicile as your parents. Another example is becoming a government dependent and assuming the domicile of government paying you the welfare check. 2.3, being committed to a prison as a prisoner and thereby assuming the domicile of government owning or funding the prison. But those contracts are normally coerced and duressed. That is not voluntary. Those who violate the first primary objective by doing any of the above become subject of the civil statutory franchises or codes. They are thereby committing the following form of idolatry in the Babylonian mystery system because they are nominating a king to be above them rather than equal to them under common law. Let's go into some precepts. Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now make us a king and judge us like all the nations and be over them. But the thing displeased Samuel, and they said, Give us a king to judge us. So Samuel prayed, and the Creator said to Samuel, Heed the voice of the people and all that they say to you, for they have rejected me, the Creator, that I should not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since that day, I have brought them up out of ancient Cam, which is Egypt, to this day, with which they have forsaken me and served other gods, kings, so forth, in this case. So they are doing to you also. Government, in and of itself, people, is not conscious contact with your Creator. Now therefore, heed their voice, however you shall solemnly forewarn them, and show them the behavior of the king who will reign over them. So Samuel, and all the words of the Creator to the people who asked for a king, he said, This will be the behavior of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for his own chariots and to be his horsemen, and some will run before his chariots. He will appoint captains over his thousands and captains over his 50s, will set some to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and some to make his weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take steel your daughters to be perfumers, cooks, and bakers. And he will take steal the best of your fields, your vineyards, and your olive groves, and give them to his servants. He will take steal a tenth of your grain and your vintage, and give it to his officers and servants. And he will take steal your male servants, your female servants, your finest young men, your donkeys, and put them to his work as slaves. He will take steal a tenth of your sheep, and you will be servants, and you will cry out on that day, because your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, and the Creator will not hear you in that day. That's from 1 Samuel chapter 8, 420. Here it is, people. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to proceed in another chapter, in another segment in regards to that, because I know that it's very hard for people to come out of Babylon. You know, get these channels, these precepts with these people, with these concepts, and they get mad at me, but I know you're an agent for the beast. It can't be any other way. You can't convince me of something that I've always been convinced of by my Creator. You can't. Actually, agents got scared. And realistically, I use that premise because people have to come to realize what sovereignty really is. Sovereignty is basically you being yourself and doing your own self-identifying procedures to you to actually get involved with your Creator. You know, it's not about man. You know, it's like the Brady Bunch. Jan, this isn't about you. And what she say, it never is. It's the truth. Not about them. If you want to coincide with them comfortably, you can do what you wish to do. It is perfectly fine. But if you come to the channel of Lord Enlightened Luciferian Prince, guess what? You're going to get the truth. The uncut truth, the raw truth, and nothing but it. And I don't have a problem. You know, I got an arsenal. You know what I'm saying? I got an arsenal of this stuff. You know, the war machine is here. And yes, I have two hands for a reason. I know y'all normally usually see you got one hand out there and the phone be shaking like Muhammad Ali holding the torch at the Olympics. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I come to this consensus with the reality that I know for a fact that what I say, irrespective of what you believe, people, is correct. You may not like the packaging. I don't care. Because like I said before, the reality is, I would say this on the leaving note. In support of this section, the following evidence provided for use in court, which proves that those who use Social Security numbers or TINs are considered to be and must by law be considered to be public officers. 1. The Supreme Court has held the case of the state action doctrine that those receiving government benefits, all you stimulus recipients out there, watch yourself, are to be regarded as state actors, meaning public officers. Last note, one great object of the Constitution is to permit citizens to structure their private relations and to choose, subject only to the constraints of statutory or decisional law. 500 United States 614, 620. I got references. You know what I'm saying? I have the references. You know? War machine back. Anyone wants to contact me privately, please don't waste my time. I am a man with limited time on face of this earth. I don't have an hourglass counting down. I'm not worried about the Sandman coming to sweep me up either. But long story short, I present this to you in the most beneficial way for the public information. But the private side, you have to consult with me. Because as I said before, people before, they ain't original. You know, you want to steal content, but then you want to take content, argue with me, and then come under another pseudonym and tell me that I know who you are. Because like I said before, frequencies are everything. Further development in this section in regards to a lot of stuff I say in process and procedure. Shit, we hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? We hit the ground running. You know what I'm saying? Agents, y'all see me? Y'all see me? Trust me. This is not going to stop. It's not. You can get mad all you want, but informing people is not illegal. Y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? Informing people is not illegal. It's not. You just have to take it in consideration that the simple fact of the matter is just certain things that you just don't want people to know. And I know what they is, man. My email's in the video description. Y'all contact me. Stay tuned for proofs of claim because I'm doing these back to back and I'm banging them out. Agents, peace, y'all. Take care. Love y'all.